Before money existed, every single purchase was a negotiation, and it was an absolute nightmare. Quick question. You have a fish, a big one, fresh, excellent fish, and you want a pair of shoes. Simple, right? Just find someone with shoes who wants a fish. Easy. Except the shoemaker already has a fish, does not need another one. What they actually need is some grain. So now you need to find someone with grain who wants a fish, so you can trade the grain for the shoes, which you wanted in the first place. Except the grain farmer wants meat, not fish, meat. This is called the double coincidence of wants problem, and it is exactly as annoying as it sounds. Ancient humans lived like this for a very long time, and eventually they got absolutely sick of it and invented something that changed everything. Money. They invented money. And today, we are going to find out exactly how they did it, and why it took so long. Barter sounds simple, until you try it. Then it is a logistical nightmare that makes modern bureaucracy look efficient. Before we get to money, we need to really appreciate how bad things were before it, because barter, direct trading of goods, sounds fine in theory. In theory. In practice, it was a complete nightmare. Problem 1. Finding the right person. In a large ancient settlement with hundreds of people, finding the exact person who has what you need and wants what you have, that was a full-time job. Problem 2. How much is a fish worth in shoes exactly? 1 fish equals half a shoe? 2 fish equals 1 shoe? Who decides? What if your fish is small? What if the shoes are bad? Every single transaction required a completely new negotiation. From scratch. Every time. For everything. Problem 3. Some things could not be divided. If you have a cow and I have pottery, how do I give you half a cow for 1 pot? I cannot. The cow is not divisible, not without making it significantly less useful. And problem 4, storage. Food goes bad. You cannot save up grain for years to use later. If you had a good harvest, you needed to trade everything immediately before it rotted. So ancient humans needed something that solved all 4 problems at once. Something everyone would accept. Something that did not go bad. Something divisible. Something that stored value over time. What they came up with first was not coins, not paper, not anything we would recognize as money today. It was cowrie shells, and grain, and cattle, and a few other things that seem absolutely ridiculous now, but made perfect sense at the time. The first money was not gold or silver. It was cowrie shells, used across Africa, Asia, and the Americas for thousands of years. Small, beautiful, and impossible to fake. The very first forms of money were commodity money, things that had real value in themselves but could also be used as payment. Cowrie shells were probably the most widespread early currency in history, used across Africa, South Asia, East Asia, and parts of the Americas for thousands of years. Why shells? They were beautiful, they were small and portable, they were durable, they did not rot or rust, and crucially, they were very hard to fake. You could not make a fake cowrie shell out of local materials. That last point, hard to fake, is enormously important. Money only works if everyone trusts it. The moment someone can make fake money cheaply, the whole system collapses. The Chinese were using cowrie shells as currency from at least 1200 BCE, and when they ran out of real shells, they started making bronze imitation shells. Think about that moment. The shells were running out, but instead of stopping using them as money, they made metal copies. That is the exact moment when money stopped being a thing with inherent value and became a symbol of value, which is a genuinely massive leap in human thinking. We went from this has value because it is valuable to this has value because we all agree it is valuable. That is completely different and completely revolutionary. Grain was another early money. In ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia, grain was collected by temples and distributed as wages and payment. The temple literally functioned as a bank. You deposited your grain, you got a receipt. You could trade the receipt. The grain stayed in the temple. This is essentially how modern banking works. You deposit money, the bank holds it, you get a statement, you spend from the statement. The actual money barely moves. Ancient Mesopotamia figured out banking 4,000 years ago, which makes modern people feel simultaneously impressed and slightly embarrassed. Cattle were also used as money across many ancient cultures. Cows, sheep, goats. The word pecuniary, meaning relating to money, comes from the Latin word for cattle, pecus, which means whenever someone calls something pecuniary, they are literally using a word that once meant cow. Language is wild. The first coins were invented in Lydia, modern-day Turkey, around 600 BCE. Within 200 years, almost every major civilization had copied the idea, because it was just that good. Commodity money worked, but it had problems. Grain rots, cattle die, shells run out. Something better was needed. Around 600 BCE in Lydia, modern-day Western Turkey, someone had an idea. What if you took electrum, a naturally occurring mix of gold and silver, and stamped it into small standard pieces, each piece stamped with an official image, guaranteeing its weight and purity, and therefore its value? Ladies and gentlemen, the first coin. And the idea spread so fast it makes the internet look slow. Within about 200 years, coins were being used in ancient Greece, Persia, India, and China. Everyone saw coins and immediately thought, yes, this is the thing. Why were coins so much better? Let me count the ways. Portable, you could carry thousands of coins in a bag. Try carrying thousands of cows. Durable, metal does not rot. You could bury coins and dig them up 100 years later and they would still work. Try that with grain. Divisible, you could have large coins, small coins, copper coins, silver coins, gold coins, different values for different transactions. Try dividing a cow into small change. And crucially, government-backed. The stamp on the coin meant the king or city-state guaranteed its value. You did not have to personally inspect every piece of metal. The stamp said, trust this. This is still exactly how money works today. The number on a $20 bill is not backed by gold anymore. It is backed by the government saying, trust us, this is worth $20. Same idea, just without the metal. Ancient Greece took coins and ran with them. Different city-states had different coins. Athens had the owl coin. Corinth had Pegasus. Your coin told people where you were from and how much your city could be trusted. Which created a new problem. If every city has different coins, how do you trade between cities? Someone has to figure out the exchange rates, and that someone needs to make a living doing it. Hello, money changers, the world's first currency traders, sitting at little tables in ancient marketplaces, converting one city's coins into another's, for a small fee, obviously. The money changers became so important that they had a specific spot in every ancient marketplace. In ancient Greece, their table was called a trapeza, which is where we get the word bank in many European languages. So the modern bank is literally named after a table, a money changer's table in an ancient Greek marketplace. Words carry history in ways we completely forget about.
Subscribe so you do not miss it, and drop a comment. What do you think was the worst part of living before money existed? The barter chaos? The heavy coins? Or the interest rates that make credit cards look friendly? Vote below. I am Brynn. May your fish always find a buyer, and I will see you next week.